bit of a late start, and hope everybody's fine, that you're all there, that you can hear me as normally. It's always a bit daunting when we get started. So, whew, I'm here and I'm so excited today. I'm actually just like very, very excited to discuss with you today my topic. It's a topic that has come up in my uh, sessions with my clients lately a lot, and and because of that, I really am inspired because of the changes that I see that are happening with my clients who really embrace the inner woo and what is it, and it sounds so magical, but I'm going to explore that more, and yeah, and how we really change the habit of being ourselves. How do we break the spells? So often I hear clients say to me, I don't know what I'm thinking or believing that makes me drink. It feels like I'm a walking zombie, gobbling up everything in sight, in a trance, under a spell, and I can't stop myself. And I keep drinking. Why? I've got all the knowledge. I read all the quit lit. I have the understanding, and yet somehow, why can't I stop? What keeps me drinking? I'm in a spell. And that is what we're going to explore today, that I'm so excited about. So let me see if there's anybody here yet. Oh, hi, Janet. Hi, Merlene. Oh, I love seeing you here. Are you waiting for the magic to happen? Yes, I'm going to share it with you. And hi, Erica and Jess. Yeah, have been doing so much amazing work together. Flick, hi, good to see you here this morning. And Mark as well. Great, great. So before we get started, I just want to say, take a breath. Let's just all just take a breath. Oh, and just feel that for a moment. The breath. Take another deep breath in and slowly let it out. Just put your hands on your heart. Feel your heart beating. Just feel it. This is for you. This is for all of us. Let's just come to this session and let's explore and let's have fun together today. So the magic is actually everywhere. You just have to look for it and you'll find it. One of the big things that I find is that we've all lost connection. We've lost connection to ourselves, which is why I'm talking a little bit here about the breath, just to connect for a moment back to you. The breath is always there. It's it's our little secret. If we know how to use it, if we know how to use our breath, we can connect. We can connect to ourselves, and we can connect to the outside, and we can connect to everything. And that is really the magic and the woo. And the woo really came from one of my sessions with my client, where we were talking about awareness and consciousness, and even just sitting in front of a tree and breathing with the tree. You know, when we breathe in the oxygen of the tree. We breathe it in. And when we breathe out, we give out our carbon dioxide, which a tree then breathes in and gives back to us as oxygen. So that's part of the woo. And she was saying that sounds all a bit like woo woo. And we came to the conclusion that actually the woo is in you. And how do we use that with triggers? So, how do we use that when we have a pandemic, when we feel isolated, when there's so much happening out there that is triggering us, and we feel that our only relief, our only way to numb from it all is to drink for a moment's relief. And then we go into like really negative self talk, and we berate ourselves, and we think that's the way we're going to break the spell and what are these spells? I'm going to delve a bit more into the spells, and I'm going to borrow a bit from Anthony Robbins, because he says we need to have incantations. And how do we use those incantations to create aliveness and enthusiasm for ourselves? So it all starts with a vision of where you want to be. Whoever's been on the dry January or who's going to go carry on taking a break, if you've come to the point where you no longer want to drink, the most important part is to visualize yourself and to visualize an awesome life without drinking. So I often invite my clients to think even 5 years ahead, where their life professionally and personally is in the best place that they can imagine it to be. They've ditched the drink, they are glowing, and people are asking them, "What's your secret? You seem so at peace. What happened?" I get this a lot. And now, and and it's such a beautiful way to then answer that question with, well, let me tell you what I did. Um, the first thing I did is I ditched the drink. And then I sorted out my thoughts, my negative thinking patterns, my state and my way of being. I changed my physiology. It's all part of the mix. And I changed my identity. For so many of us, our identity at the moment is in alcohol. We identify with alcohol as we are drinkers. So now we want to visualize and create a new identity, an identity of an us that is healthy, that is wealthy, that is in control and has peace without alcohol. So that's got to be your starting point. So, what is your story right now? And I can tell you what my story was. My story was I was unhappy. I had a difficult boss. I was no longer connecting with my husband. Everything was boring. Everything was stressful. Had just lost its color. And just to make a go of it and just to be able to deal with the stresses at work, I needed to drink. Life was difficult. That was my story. I had to change that story. What is your story? So, just some of you share with me your story. Oh, Anna Marie, good to see you. And Julia, all of you, Erica, thank you for being here. Just share a bit with me, or just put on some keywords about what is your current story about yourself. One of mine was also, I'll never stop drinking. Now, those are spells if we think about it. Life is so difficult. Life is so stressful. I'm just a bad mom. I shouted at my kids again. Oh, I couldn't stop drinking last night again. I said I wasn't and I did. Those are spells that we are talking into what I call the kinesphere or the universe. And it comes back. What we say comes back to us. I mean, I know somebody that's very close to me that often just talks a lot about how she just doesn't like humans. And then the surprise is that humans don't like her. So what we say and what we put out there really comes back at us. That is the spell. That is the spell that needs to be broken. So let me just check in here with you guys. If I can see anything. Oh, my video is still live. Okay. Hi, Julia. Nice to see you. And Vanessa, yay. It's so good to see you all. Oh, just so, Erica, everybody that's here this morning, just think about your story. What is your current story that you're telling yourself? It's so important. That's why journaling is so important. The way that we talk to ourselves, that it creates the spell. So that creates our feelings. Often I always talk about that your thoughts create your feelings drive your actions, and you get your results. So we're going to work a bit with that in a sort of different way this morning. So your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. Your actions really stem from your way of being. Your way of being is whether you are motivated, not motivated. How are you when you wake up in the morning? Is there a sense of dread? Is there a sense of, oh, I don't really want to get up. Whatever it is, that is your state of being. That is your way of being. And that is the energy that you're putting into the world and into the kinesphere. If you really look at that, you can understand that it's your spells that you're telling, your beliefs that you're running over and over in your mind and in your subconscious that is creating this. So you need to bring them out. And I always say, in order to break a spell, you need to see the spells. So what are the beliefs? Maybe you want to share some of your beliefs that you have. And when you look at those beliefs and you can turn them around, that is really important. When we wake up with that, so we understand that there must be some beliefs, some spells that are running. That's what's kept us in this sort of low mood, low vibration. And here's the good news. Your body is your brain. I never understood that. I used to get angry at my body. If there was pain somewhere, I was like, why am I in pain again? I shouldn't be having pain. Oh, there's something wrong with me. What is wrong with me? Catastrophizing spells, putting them out there. Now I feel my body in the morning and I sense it's telling me, hey, we need to shift something. We need to shift our physiology today. And the quickest way that I can do that is through breath work. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I do my breath work. It's amazing. It shifts me, it clarifies me, it brings me into a state of excitement and enthusiasm for the day. Sometimes together with that, what I then like to do is I like to do my visualization of my goals. So if your goals are currently, I'm going to stop drinking, or I'm going to have this, whatever you goals you've set yourself for 2021, visualize it and really feel it. If it's to stop drinking, what does a person who doesn't like drinking think, feel? How does she or he behave when they are out at a function? How do he or she spend their evening? Think about that, create that, and journal it. Then you want to give yourself an award or a reward. So when you've done dry January, award yourself. Go and do a spa or go for a beautiful massage. And that's also part of the visualization. I used to stop at the point of just visualizing the goal. But when I realized actually, it goes a bit beyond that. When you've already seen yourself achieving it and you feel yourself achieving it and you have the smells of your reward. You smell the massage oil. You feel the hands coming over your body and just releasing so much pleasure. You go into the reward. So it's very important to start. We start with the visualization of who we want to be, how we want to show up, and how we want to show up as not drinking. Then we want to check in on our physiology. How are we feeling? How's our mood? And how can we shift it? Another clue is that when we are doing our visualization, it is to sometimes afterwards, like thoughts pop into my head and then I write them down and journal them. Like little insights, I just journal them. So do that. So have your journal next to you. Your journal is like your clairvoyant ball. It's like your crystal ball that you can like really look in and see what's going on. What are the spells? And then we work with the spells and we say, okay, for today, how do I want to think? How do I want to feel? How do I want to show up? So a lot of my spells got broken when I started to bring in the positive. Everything is for me. Time contracts and expands exactly like I needed to when I was under time pressure or when I'm under time pressure. When something is hard, it means I'm growing. I can feel any emotion. Bring it on. There's nothing that I cannot feel. I'm in control. I can break the spell. And the second part is when we do get triggers, like we do, that for me, they are our gifts. So I want you to think of your triggers as your gifts, your urges, your desires. When you really want to drink, just say, bring on that feeling. Let me and you sit together right now. Let's break the spell. And one of the best ways to break the spell is to lean into it, to surrender to it, to embrace it, to say, hey, I see you. I feel you. It's okay. I know you're just wanting me to have a relief. What are you wanting me to have relief from? And usually it's an anxious thought, it's a stressful day, and then I can go back into my spells and say, okay, what spells have I been repeating today? And bring in incantations. That's what Anthony Robbins calls them, incantations. A series of words said as a magic spell or a charm. So a series of words, and then when you speak them with a powerful voice. All is for me. All is for me. I can feel you. I can handle you. I can breathe into you. I am fearless girl. And you can even get the posture. So when we talk about our physiology, often it's also in our posture. When we just shift our posture, everything changes. Wendy Palmer has some beautiful work around this. Wendy Palmer is a leadership embodiment coach. And this is what she teaches to leaders in high executive places who also deal with a lot of the stresses that we do and often don't feel good enough. So there's a spell, I don't feel good enough. And she says sometimes you just have to channel. We have to see ourselves as a vessel, an energy vessel. And we have a channel that runs through us of energy. And how do we access that? Anthony Robbins calls it, how do we focus it? Where we focus, energy goes. And she talks about creating a posse. A posse is like a couple of people or couple of gurus or figures from history that inspire you and channeling them. So, for example, when you are feeling very constricted, just do that for me for currently. Just feel constricted and just go and squeeze and just think, how open am I now? How can anything good happen now? What are you feeling inside? Oh, and then just open and just feel the shift, the different shift in just your mental state and your whole state, your whole being at this moment. So what she says is she likes to channel when she goes into a meeting or she goes into a situation. So maybe you're going into a party and you're feeling a little bit unsure because you're not drinking anymore. She said, channel whoever's going to inspire you. And she likes to channel for wisdom and for posture and for centeredness, Nelson Mandela. So she would say, I'll go in and I'll channel Nelson Mandela. I like to channel Wonder Woman or one of my clients, Fearless Girl. And so just feel that when you're channeling Nelson Mandela, or you're channeling somebody who embodies that presence, that centeredness for you, and just breathe it in. And when you breathe out with compassion. So when you breathe out, imagine somebody that for you embodies compassion. So for me, that's the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, and I just visualize them. The magic of Nelson, Wonder Woman, coming in, and then just the softness of Mother Teresa, the kindness, the compassion. So that's a beautiful way to shift your physiology. You come into a room, you're centered, your eyes are soft, and you're engaging and you're connecting. I don't know if that resonates for anybody, but that is a beautiful technique that you can do. As Anthony Robbins always says, one of the key clues in terms of changing our state is to start with our physiology. And he likes to just go into dancing. I mean, when you go to his seminars, and Lucy sent me a link to one of his last night, he really likes to channel music and dancing. He says that's how he shifts his physiology. And sometimes in a coaching session, I even will start with like vibey music, and we'll just get into the session, dancing it out a bit, shifting our energy and coming into the here and now. So triggers. Circumstances create triggers. So circumstances is everything that you can't control. It's the pandemic. It's the government. It's whether you get an illness. It's whether your husband is shouting at you, your husband not doing what you want him to do. It's the outside world coming at you. It's the weather. You can't control the weather. And I'm actually like really glad that we don't have that power, because imagine if we could control the weather. There would never be a storm. There would never be rain. We would always just want sunshine. And yet we need it all. We need all of it. So the circumstances come and happen in our lives. So when something comes that is really triggering for you and it's really difficult, it's a shock. Sometimes we call it a life shock, or it's a very difficult moment. I always say, okay, let's just clear the decks. Let's just look at the absolute facts here. In the seminar last night, there was a guy who had been in an accident, and they told him that he was never going to walk or talk again. And he said to himself, inside himself, bullshit. And today he's walking and talking. So first of all, there was, I'm not taking this. I'm not buying into this spell. What do I want to think about it? How do I want to approach it? What are my options? That is when you are taking your power. How do I want to believe about it? What can I do about my physiology? What exercises? And he had an incantation that said, every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. So I'm not sure if you're starting to kind of sense where I'm going with this. It's all about shifting to a positive mindset. It's getting into our hero story versus our victim story. We need to change our stories. So what are you talking? How are you talking to yourself? When there is a trigger and you're feeling it, and you feeling like sometimes we just flip our lids. It's okay. However, there's always a learning. There's always a curiosity. It's that what I call that curious self-inquiry. What happened there? If we have a binge, there's no need to berate ourselves. We think if we talk to ourselves badly, that we will actually force ourselves into change. And it doesn't happen. We're just creating the spell. More and more, the power of that negative spell is just weaving and creating the outcomes that we don't want. We keep on drinking. So often I say we've got to break the spell by leaning into it with love. And then some of my clients will say to me, okay, that's nice. I'm actually loving myself more now. I'm talking to myself better. I say to myself, it's okay. You just had a slip. No, that's permission. That's like a kind of resignation. That's not what I mean. When I say we've got to talk to ourselves with love, it's owning it. Yeah, guess what? I slipped up again last night. Get curious about it. Then how do we solve this? What can we do about it? What were your thoughts? What was I thinking? Maybe more journaling. What would love do? Love would never say, carry on drinking, it's okay. Love would say, how do we find a way? How do we find a solution? How do we make you happy? How do we create peace in your life? Those are the questions. And when you talk to yourself, you ask yourself, how can I create more peace? How can I create a better self-talk, an empowering self-talk? Or remember the word, an incantation versus a spell of negativity. You can use your incantations. So triggers are there, they're your professors. And most of us just want to shut the door on them and not let them in. I'm saying let them in, allow them in with curiosity and with love. Learn what's showing up for you. Learn what spells you are under. Journal and break your spells. Create positive self-talk. And that is really the woo. what is really, people often say to me, so what is consciousness? And you talk about the kinesphere and you talk about connecting to the universe, and what you put out comes back and all that woo. Um, and one of the best stories I've heard about it, and explanations of who we really are, and that we are not really this body, these thoughts. Um, uh, we are a consciousness. Was from Jill Boynton Taylor, who was a neuroscientist who was studying neuroscience and understanding the brain when she had a stroke. And she wrote a book called A Stroke of Insight. And I remember in that book, she said that she actually saw, when she had the brain hemorrhage, she felt the left side of her brain just shutting down, and all language went, all her memories went. And the next, and what she recalled was these doctors saying things to her like, squeeze my hand. And she was like, how do I do that? And she was going into her, she was aware, but she just couldn't, she didn't know how to engage the part of her brain that would be able to squeeze that hand. And then the doctors would just say, oh, she's not there. But she was there. And when she did then afterwards get the will together and eventually managed to squeeze a nurse's hand, and the nurse would say, she squeezed my hand, the doctors would say, oh, it was just a reflex. So why am I telling you that story? Because she healed herself. She's got a fantastic TED Talk about it, how she healed herself, where today she is fully functional and studying and creating papers and research papers about the brain, which is fantastic. It's so important for us to be aware of it, because what she says is, yes, we are a consciousness. However, we express through the brain, and the brain is very plastic. It can heal itself. That is the magic. The brain heals itself with positive, compassionate self-awareness. So get into your mindfulness, get into your breathing, get into the connection to your body and your brain. You are a whole being. Connect to you. Get curious about, when I'm breathing, what does it feel like? When I have an ache and I just breathe into it, what does that feel like? Can I sense the blood in my body? Can I sense seeing without opening my eyes? Can I hear? What do I hear when I close my eyes or I'm in meditation? Engage all your senses and become very present in the here and now. And then engage with powerful incantations, saying to yourself, I can so do this. All is for me. Every trigger, every circumstance is an opportunity for me. I can shift my physiology. I can feel alive. Where I focus, my energy goes. Guess what? I can do it all. I am Wonder Woman. I am Mother Teresa. I am everything and everyone. I can channel. I can choose. So choose your story, choose your journey, and just want to tell you all, you got this. You absolutely got this. And for anybody that really is finding that maybe they're not so sure how to engage with their physiology, with their focus, with their language, and how to create new language, that's where coaching is really powerful. I'm available. Message me if you want to schedule a 30-minute call just to check in, and let's get a plan together. Let's get you really having the best 2021 ever. Thank you. So I'm going to just check in with you all. So Marlene, just tell me something. Has the magic happened this morning? Are you starting to feel the magic? Oh, thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks, Flick. Yes. Hi. Yeah, so Janet, your story was drinking is my thing. It's what I do to relax and have fun. I work hard and need to play hard. Yes. And then you turned it around. Wow, look at your story now. Vanessa, my story was that I was just a fun-loving party girl, and everyone loves a fun girl. Yeah, and it's amazing how a fun-loving party girl you associated that with drinking. You can actually be a fun, and you are a fun-loving party girl, and you are, and everybody loves you, whether you're drinking or not. And I think that is the woo, that you can just say to yourself, you know what? I can still be fun, and just prove it to yourself. Filling my life after drinking with what? Yeah. On 105 days and feeling a bit lost, should be actually happy. So there's some beautiful spells there, Anne Marie. Filling my life after drinking. Your life is full. If you just look through the eyes. Look through the eyes of possibility and opportunity. Look at the trees. Look at the nature. Anything that inspires a new fullness. Breathe. When you breathe, it's you breathing in your fullness. What do you want to? What do you want to fill your life with? Whatever you want to, you can. My really good friend Simone always says, "Follow your bliss bombs." Just start somewhere where you feel a little bit of bliss. Start with your shifting your physiology in the morning. If it means going for a walk, means going for a run, or having a good dance out, whatever it is, it's just going to shift you. And then focus on who you really want to be and how you want to show up and your thoughts. Just get them out there. Beautiful. Difficult to braai without a glass. Yeah, so there's another one, Erica. However, you can braai with a glass of alcohol-free beer or a glass of delicious kombucha. Just start visualizing what's going to give you such pleasure beyond alcohol. Wine is part of socializing. Yeah, and that's a spell. That is a huge spell that we buy into, a belief system. So spells are really just thoughts that we keep on thinking, that we start believing, and then they become part of us. Yeah, Irene, living miserable life needed to change it all. And that is really when we realize that, that's the first step. And when we know that only we can break the spell, and we have it in us. It's in us, that woo. It's so empowering. I love it. And 105 days, Anne Marie, is brilliant. So you keep going and just watch the spells that you're creating. And Jess, I was running away from myself in the most destructive way. I had no self-esteem. Drinking was the only way I believed was a way out. And look at you now, Jess. Oh, it's so wonderful to see you owning your power. You owning your fearless girl. So proud of you. And when we realize that we have this one beautiful gift of a life, let's live it. Let's feel alive within it. Why would we want to escape from it? Let's live it. Let's live it to the full. And Julia, you are facing a huge challenge right now in your life, and I'm really rooting for you. And I'm just telling you that you got this. Just keep on focusing on what you want to believe and how you want to feel about your journey. Yes, amazing responses here. Yeah, the limiting beliefs, those are our spells. Yeah. Hi, Malukas. Yeah, not remembering things that happened the previous night. Every day was a nightmare. Yes, we don't need to live the nightmare. We don't need to keep doing the same things that keep us in the nightmare. Okay, lean into it, exhale into the discomfort. Trust yourself. You guys can do this. I love you. I hope you're feeling inspired. My invitation to you is to go and write your old story and then look at it and write your new story and write your vision for 2021. What is it going to be? Who you're going to be? Excite yourself. And sometimes we just have to set ourselves on fire and light ourselves up from within. You guys can do it. I'm so proud of you all. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you soon. For those of you who are coming to the workshop, I'll see you at the workshop. Otherwise, I'll see you next week at the Zoom Cafe. Love you all. Have a beautiful day. Bye.